الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد. The wisdom behind a delayed response. It is indeed a great trial for a Muslim to make dua sincerely and properly, continually for a long period of time, and yet see no sign of response. Here, a person's iman in Allah is truly tested. And here is the opportunity that Shaitan uses to try to sow his whispers and plant his doubts in a believer's heart. In this way, a person might start thinking evil thoughts about his Creator or start doubting the wisdom of the divine decree. So whoever falls into this should immediately seek Allah's refuge from Shaitan and turn to Allah sincerely, making yet another dua, that he be saved from Shaitan's evil plots and that he be granted patience to withstand the test that he is undergoing. He should also ponder over his own limited knowledge and intelligence and realize the infinite knowledge of Allah and the extreme wisdom behind any divine act. At the same time, he should realize that the great blessings that Allah has given to mankind when He guaranteed a response to all du'as. He should realize that the great blessings that Allah has given to mankind when He guaranteed a response to all du'as, as long as the dua conforms to all the necessary etiquette and there are no prohibiting factors found in the one making it. So every dua is responded to by giving the doer rewards in this life and the hereafter. And every dua is responded to by giving what was asked or something equivalent to it, or by averting some evil that was to befall the one making dua, or by giving him reward equivalent to his dua on the Day of Judgment, or a sin being forgiven. So even when one's dua is apparently not responded to, he should realize that the actual response might not be what he presumes, and it is, in fact, possible that his dua has already been answered without his even knowing it. A Muslim should understand there are many wisdoms behind the delay response of a dua, whether he realizes it or not. All of Allah's decrees are wise, and although it is not possible that we fully and truly comprehend all the divine wisdom behind an act, it is possible that we can glean some of the benefits of a decree. The following points have been mentioned by some scholars. First of all, Allah is the Malik. Allah is the true king, the owner of all kingdoms. No one can interfere in His decision, and no one can question His resolutions. As Allah says in the Quran, لا يسأل عما يفعل وهم يسألون. He is not questioned regarding what He does, but rather they will be questioned regarding what they do. He also says, وَاللَّهُ يَحْكُمُ لَا مُعَقِّبَ لِحُكْمِهِ وَهُوَ سَرِيعُ الْحِسَابِ. And Allah judges, and there is none that can change His judgment, and He is the ever swift in reckoning. So the Muslim does not question the will of Allah, rather he accepts it and is pleased with it. One of the scholars wrote, so there is none of us who can escape from the will of Allah and His decree, and no one can avert His judgment or His trials upon us. Verily we all belong to Allah, we are His slaves and part of His possessions. He does with us as He pleases and what He wills. Number 2, man does not have a right over his Creator. The one making dua should realize his lowly status and know that he does not have a right over his Creator that his dua be responded to. He should be wise enough to contemplate his own many faults and shortcomings with regards to the rights that Allah has over him. This will make him appreciate that he does not have any rights over Allah. Shaykh Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala wrote, so one of the greatest matters of benefit to the heart is that it looks into the rights that Allah has over His slaves, because this will cause him to look at his own self in a despicable and lowly manner. It will make him avoid self-conceit and vanity concerning his actions, and instead open for him the door to humility and meekness. He will be submissive before his Lord and give up hope of his own self, for he will realize that success will only come about through the mercy of Allah and His blessings. For His right upon the soul is that he be obeyed and not disobeyed, and remembered and not forgotten, and thanked and not rejected. So whoever looks into this right that his Lord has upon him, then he will know a most certain knowledge that he is not fulfilling the rights of his Lord in a way that he should, and that nothing can save him except divine aid and forgiveness. So if he were to rely upon his own actions, he would be destroyed. So this is what those who have knowledge of Allah look upon, and this is what has caused them to give up hope of attaining any good from themselves, and made them put all of their hope in the mercy and forgiveness of Allah. But if you were to look at the status of the majority of people, you will find them to be the exact opposite of this. They examine the rights that they have upon Allah, and they ignore the rights that Allah has upon them. And because of this, they have cut themselves off from Allah, and their hearts have been sealed up from recognizing Him or loving Him or being eager to meet Him. And this is the height of ignorance that a man can have with regards to his Lord, and even with regards to himself. Number 3, in the wisdoms of a delayed response of the dua, is a delay in response is a trial. When the response of a dua is delayed, this is a type of test and trial that is inflicted upon the servant. This necessitates his being patient during this trial. So a person should realize that just like his entire life is a trial and test for him, so too is this delayed response. This is just one of the many trials that he has to face if he eventually wishes to enter paradise and please his Creator, as Allah says, وَنَبْلُوكُمْ بِالشَّرِّ وَالْخَيْرِ فِتْنَةً وَإِلَيْنَا تُرْجَعُونَ. And we test you with good and evil as a fitnah, and to us you will return. So both good and evil is a test, a fitnah for us, to see whether we are patient when afflicted with evil, and whether we use the good that we have been given properly. Number 4, Allah is the most wise. Of Allah's many beautiful names is Al-Hakim, or the most wise. So to Allah belongs the greatest wisdom. All of His decrees are wise. When He gives with wisdom, and when He prevents with wisdom. As Allah says, حِكْمَةٌ بَالِغَةٌ, perfect or complete and all-encompassing wisdom. So it is possible that when what a person desires is not wise for him to have, and because of this he is not granted it, or it is delayed until such a time that it is suitable for him. It is possible that the dua might be responded to at a later time due to factors that Allah alone is aware of. For example, a couple might pray for a child and their dua is not answered for a number of years, since Allah knows that it would be better for them to be blessed with a child at a later date. So the believer accepts the divine wisdom of Allah and does not cause a delay in response to swerve him from the true iman in Allah. The matter might bring evil. Number 5. Following up from the last point, it is possible that Allah knows that a certain matter, although apparently might appear to bring good, in reality will lead to evil consequences. So, a person might desire to have money, and in his heart he feels that he will spend this money for the sake of Allah, and yet Allah knows that if this person were to be given money, he would spend it in haram ways, and that it would ruin his iman. So he would become like the one that is mentioned in the Quran, وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ عَاهَدَ اللَّهَ لَئِنْ آتَانَ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ لَنَصَّدَّقَنَّ وَلَنَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ فَلَمَّا آتَاهُمْ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ بَخِلُوا بِهِ وَتَوَلَّوْا وَهُمْ مُعْرِضُونَ فَأَعْقَبَهُمْ نِفَاقًا فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ إِلَى يَوْمِ يَلْقَوْنَهُ بِمَا أَخْلَفُوا اللَّهَ مَا وَعَدُوهُ وَبِمَا كَانُوا يَكْذِبُونَ. And of them are some who made a promise with Allah, saying, if He bestowed on us out of His blessings, then He will of a surety give charity, and we will surely become amongst the righteous. Then, when He gave him of His blessings, they became miserly in spending for the sake of Allah, and turned away averse out of arrogance. So because of this, He punished them by putting hypocrisy in their hearts, until the day when they shall meet him, because they broke which they promised Allah, and because they used to lie to Allah. So beware, O believer, O Muslim, of getting angry or complaining against Allah's decree, for it is possible that the matter that you do so desire might be the very cause of your destruction. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn al-Qayyim, rahimahullah ta'ala, the master of spiritual diseases and their cures, writes, the divine decree related to the believer is always a bounty, even if it is in the form of withholding something that is desired. And it is a blessing even if it appears to be a trial, and an affliction that has befallen him is in reality a cure, even though it appears to be a disease. Unfortunately, due to the ignorance of the worshipper and his transgressions, he does not consider anything to be a gift or a blessing or a cure unless he can enjoy it immediately, and it is in accordance with his nature. If he were only given a little bit of understanding, then he would have counted being withheld from a blessing and the sickness as a mercy, and he would relish the trouble that befalls him more than he relishes his ease, and he would enjoy poverty more than he enjoys richness, and he would be more thankful when he is blessed with little than he is when he is blessed with a lot. Note that a believer does not ask for problems and trials, but when they occur, the true believer relishes them more than he would an apparent blessing, because he realizes and expects the great reward that he will obtain through his patience and perseverance, and knowing that whatever Allah Ta'ala decrees, inshaAllah Ta'ala, it will be the best for him. Number 6, behind the wisdoms, amongst the wisdoms of a delayed response of the dua of the Muslim, is that Allah's choice is better than the choice of the servant. This is a great secret that very few people appreciate or implement in their lives. For verily Allah is more merciful to His servants than a mother is to her child, and He will only decree for them what is best for their needs in this world and the hereafter. So even when a trial or tribulation afflicts a Muslim, this is better for him than it not having happened. So, O servant of Allah, next time your dua is not answered, ask yourself, is it not possible that Allah knows that this matter which I am asking for is not for my benefit? And is He not the most merciful of all that have mercy? So in this prevention of my dua being answered, there might be great good for me. Just like a parent must not fulfill all the desires of his child, since some of them are harmful for him, so too, and to Allah belongs the greatest example, must a person realize that not all of his du'as are really for his benefit. And once a person truly and fully realizes this, that Allah cares for him more than he cares for himself, then he has gone a long way towards perfecting his iman. The great sage and ascetic Al-Imam Sufyan al-Thawri, rahimahullah ta'ala, said, verily when he withholds, he actually gives, because he did not withhold on account of miserliness or stinginess, but rather he looked at this benefit of the servant. So the fact that he withheld is actually his choice for the servant and his excellent decision. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.